Hi, I'm Jamie Wright, middle school librarian, and I'm here to help you find your next great book. Today's episode features books centered around relationships between protagonists and their parents. I enjoyed each of these books so much. I know I book talked all of these with my students in person in the past year, so let's get started. First up is one of my favorite books, Peak by Roland Smith. And I have to say, nothing about this book's description seems like it would be one of my personal favorites, but I really enjoyed this book, so I hope you'll give it a chance. Peak is 14, and he and his mother and stepfather and twin younger sisters live in New York, while his estranged father runs a mountain climbing excursion business called Peak Experience. After Peak is arrested for scaling a skyscraper, his mother arranges a deal with the judge to get Peak out of serving juvenile detention time. Instead, he can go stay with his father for a while, get him out of New York City and the spotlight. Peak knows his father is an easygoing guy who's a world famous climber, but they don't really know each other. Almost immediately, it becomes clear his father wants to take Peak on a trip to climb the world's highest mountain. His mother would never approve. Peak is a risk taker, and given an opportunity to train and climb Everest is just too good to miss, so he agrees. There's a lot of equipment and prep involved in summiting Everest, and the author does a great job showing the repetition and the drudgery of that preparation without making it feel dull to the reader. Even if you don't have any climbing background, you can clearly envision and understand the life and death circumstances Peak and his team face. There are some really interesting supporting characters, like a nosy reporter and the climbing guides. And against all of the danger and outdoor adventure backdrop, the story is really about ethics and relationships. Peak is trying to figure out if his father is truly interested in him as a human being, or if he's just using Peak to get the youngest climber ever to summit Everest as a PR stunt for his company. And Peak has to decide how much he wants to be an individual seeking glory or a contributing team member or something else altogether. It's really good. Next up is My Life with the Liars by Caela Carter. This is a realistic fiction book about a girl named Xylin who has been born and raised in a small, closed community. And now she finds herself in suburban America with a man who says he's her father and his wife and young daughter. Xylin has been raised to distrust strangers, so she's been taught that all outsiders beyond her small community are liars who will try to trick you. So when the man who says he's her father gives her a soft bed to sleep in, or delicious strawberries at dinner, or there's carpet cushioning her feet, all of these things seem suspicious to her. They're part of a plan to keep her in darkness. So she does her best to try to get away, to get back to the life she knew. But she has some doubts and she starts to have questions, and they start bubbling up the longer she lives with her father and his family. It's interesting to see Xylin's perspective as she experiences things that readers would probably take for granted, like shopping at Target for the first time. Her conflict is really compelling, and the book is a page turner. The next book, One Jar of Magic by Corey Ann Haydu, is magical realism. Although the central plot point is a fantasy element, the main conflict is actually about relationships and identity. Rose's father has told her over and over that she is special, and when she's old enough to go with the adults to collect jars of magic on New Year's Day, he is convinced she is going to collect more than anybody else. Rose's father is himself a famous magic collector, and he puts a lot of pressure on her to train and to feel the magic. He is super happy to be interviewed by journalists and happy to have his status as an expert. Some of the magic that the people collect in town is just pretty, and some is silly, and some is really powerful. Rose has been told so many times that she is special and destined to be an expert magic collector that she brags about it. She's got to be special in magic, and it's got to be pretty easy, right? It'll definitely come naturally and easily to her. It never occurs to her that it might not. This author is a genius at describing painful things in beautiful ways. She delves into family secrets and she brings things into the light that people might not really talk about very much. What does it mean when a parent has more ambition than empathy? How do you handle it when your heroes fall? Last up is Rescued by Eliot Schrefer. This book is part of a series called The Ape Quartet, in which each book focuses on a different ape. Rescued is about an orangutan. John's father never had a lot of time for him, but one day when he was little, his dad brought him a baby orangutan named Raja to live with their family. As both As both Raja and John grew, Raja became more difficult to handle in the house, making messes and breaking things, and just not designed for the world he was living in. Eventually, John's father moves out to a trailer in the woods, and Raja lives in a nearby cage most of the time. John lives with his mother in a house, and now his father is out of money. John refuses to send Raja to a research lab, and no zoo will take him. John wants to do the right thing for his childhood friend, but what is his responsibility to Raja? How far can he go to help him, and what can he possibly do? That's it for this episode of Book Talks, Parent Relationship Issues. If you're still looking for your next great book, reach out to your librarian for help. And remember, a book is always a good idea.